वो तो है. See, I understand it's a little tedious. एक काम करता हूँ, I'll show you a very simple recipe of a samosa patti. उसको फ्रीज कर लो, जब चाहिए थॉ करो, फिलिंग डालो, फ्राई करो और खा लो, है ना? चल, बाय. Well, this lockdown has made everybody so lazy. Well, today, let me show you a simple patti recipe, which is a samosa patti, because even something like a samosa seems suddenly so tedious. Hey guys, this is the Bombay chef Varun Inamdar and welcome to Rajshri Food. Today, let's make a very simple samosa patti. Let's begin. Well, it's a very simple recipe, of course, and also uses very simple and basic ingredients. Let's first begin with refined flour, also known as maida or all-purpose flour. You can also make this with wheat flour, but wheat flour generally does not have a lot of stretchability. What you can do is, in that case, only if you wish to, you can divide this and use 50-50. So 50% of wheat flour and 50% of maida. Remember that. To this, I'm going to add in just a little bit of salt. And with this, I'm going to add in oil. It's an absolute basic dough. Let's mix all of this together. You're not looking at creating a short crumb texture or anything like that. This is just basic mixing. And to this, I'm going to add in water and knead this into a semi-soft dough. You're not looking at a hard or a stiff dough. You're not looking at an extremely pliable dough, but go very moderate with addition of water. Generally, the thumb rule would be adding in somewhere around 1/4 to 1/3 cups of water, and that's like ranging in between that grammage. Let's bring all of this together. Well, at face value, this may look like a tedious recipe, but trust me, once you start getting this basic recipe correct, you can churn out a lot of things from this. You can, of course, make a spring roll at home. You can make a patti samosa at home. Well, all of this has come together. Let's take this on the tabletop and knead this well. Kneading a dough is possibly one of the best exercises in a kitchen. Well, having said that, this lockdown, I'm sure all of you, just like me, have put on at least 3-4 kilos. Let me know in the comments section how much you've gained. Okay, now, all of that aside, kneading, like I said, is a little technical. It comes across as just pushing and pulling, but it's not about that. If you see this process very clearly, I'm pushing it and bringing it back with the heel of my palm. So you push it with your fingers, rolling right up to the heel of the palm and bring it back. Similarly, you change the direction. So once you go opposite, then you pull it back, then you go in the other direction. Very simple. So that's what you need to do for at least 2 to 3 minutes. And once you're done with that, you will see that the dough actually gets a little shiny. The matte finish of the dough kind of goes away and you get a little bit of a shine, and that's what you're looking at. Let's bring all of this together, and there you have a nice smooth dough, which of course is also pliable. It has to literally bounce back. That's what we're looking at. Time to rest this dough in the same glass bowl. We need to cover this with a damp cloth, and of course, this is very important because this will help in the formation of gluten, and that will help in making the dough nice, elastic and stretchy. Very important while making a samosa patti. The dough has rested well. Well, it's become perfectly elastic, and that's exactly what we're looking at. Well, let's divide the dough. Let's roll this into a long cylinder. Let's divide this to equal portions. It's important to roll this like so and keep this aside, because this way, of course, portion is controlled, the size of the patti is controlled, and also it looks a little better, isn't it? There we go. The next step is to take just a little bit of flour. This is called flouring the surface, and we need to roll this into a chapati-like disc. Well, not very thin, not very thick, and you'll soon know how and why. Well, this one is roughly 4 to 5 inches in diameter. Similarly, let's start rolling each of these discs. Once all these little chapatis are done and ready, the next step is to assemble all of these. Now for that, of course, you need to take the first one and just add in a few drops of oil. You smear this well. To this, I'm going to add in a little bit of refined flour and place the next chapati. I'm going to repeat this entire process. The last one, of course, we're not going to apply oil on that. With this, all our maida chapatis are stacked and ready. And very importantly, also layered with oil and refined flour. The next step is, of course, to dab a little more of this flour and roll this into an absolutely thin disc. With this, of course, this is rolled and ready. Now, because we do not have large size tawas in our homes, we cut this into half, pick this very carefully and place this on the tawa. And this is, of course, a moderately hot tawa. This is not very hot. The whole idea here is to just kind of get it some heat so that steam starts generating, and because of the steam, the layers start separating. And that's where you get the most wonderful patti. But here, if you see, it's just changed its color a little. That's where you flip this and it's almost ready. Well, this is semi-toasted and ready. Very, very, very hot. Similarly, let's start cooking the other one as well. Let's transfer this on the work table. Now, patti is generally, we call it a patti, of course, because they're like strips. And if you want to cut these into strips, this is the time where you actually knock off the sides because these are not required. Well, with this style and this method, you'll get somewhere around 30 pattis. Imagine just this much of dough and 30 pattis, which is actually 30 samosas. So remember that, don't go wrong with your proportions. Keep this under a damp cloth, and let me quickly show you a filling. Now this is an onion filling, of course not the filling that I was discussing earlier, but a little westernized. For this, I'm taking some chopped onions. To this, I'm adding in processed cheese, chopped green chilies, a touch of salt and pepper. Let's mix all of this together. We also need to press this because we want the cheese to kind of just mash up a little so the onion clings onto it. The next step is to, of course, take the patti and a spoonful of the mixture. The next step is to fold the corner, literally like how you create a dog ear for your books. And you fold it like so. That's how you get the natural shape of a samosa without really doing anything much. The final bit, which is left and pending here, you need to make a slurry using refined flour and water, equal quantities, which is 1 teaspoon of refined flour and 1 teaspoon of water. Cover this. And with this, you have your patti samosa shaped and ready. The oil is heated up. Let's fry the patti samosas on high flame. Let's transfer these on an absorbent tissue paper, and with this, your patti samosa is done and ready. Now the big question here would be, if you make so many pattis, how do you store them? It's very simple. Bring them all together, put them in a bag, pack them, nice and sealed, and that goes straight in the freezer. Whenever you wish to make it, it's very important to thaw this, peel this like how I showed you, and use it the way I showed you how to make the patti samosa. Well, for more such stunning vegetarian recipes, stay tuned to Rajshri Food. Bye for now. Because the whole idea here is to not cook this, but to just kind of... कैसे समझाओ easy?